Have you been looking for your keys to success? You have found the best place to start. We will hear from professionals on different keys to success in building huge careers in and outside the mortgage industry. These conversations that each person will share their experience will allow you to hear nuggets on finding your keys to success. I'm your host, SueMeitner, so let's get started and grab your keys. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another segment of Grab Your Keys. I am so excited today to have a rock star mortgage woman. She's been in the Scotsman Guide year after year after year, the top 1% of mortgage originators, top 200 women. I mean, just amazing. In Northern Virginia, Gina Myers is here with us today. So I met you a couple weeks ago at the Modern Mortgage Summit.
Yes.
And totally impressed by you. I love how other loan officers in different areas meet other loan officers sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was so nice to see you. Thanks for having me. What an honor to be invited and right back at you. You're a powerhouse as killer as well. So I'm like honored to be a part of your podcast.
Well, we are so happy to have you on Grab Your Keys. We were just chatting about I went to school in Northern Virginia. You went to UVA. And I absolutely love that area. That area has always been booming with housing. And, you know, it's what a great place and great people all the time. Great people, all different kinds of, you know, different careers people have, and I love that. But why don't you tell us a little bit of how you got started in the mortgage industry?
Sure, yeah. So out of college, out of UVA, I had a degree in urban and environmental planning, so city planning and development, and I wasn't really sure what to do with that. A company called Clark Construction came to the career fair, and I really liked the idea of seeing something built from the ground up. So I worked for Clark Construction and moved up in like their management, chain. I worked in downtown DC, wore my hard hat on the metro. With my big hair, everybody was like, "What the heck are you doing with that hard hat on?" I really enjoyed it. Clark was awesome that they allowed me to go and take a master's degree program in DuPont Circle under John Hopkins. So I got my master's degree in commercial real estate, and I thought, okay, commercial real estate development sounds super sexy. And at the end of the day, no job is really as sexy as it's portrayed. I loved what I did, but I felt that there was a part of me that was a little bit unfulfilled. So a good friend of mine said, "You should get into mortgage." And I was like, "What? That sounds horrible, And then he told me the opportunities, the management, the financial opportunities, and kind of like being able to take something. We were building $2 billion projects like baseball stadiums and things like that, and kind of taking the project mentality, but making it a lot smaller and a lot more emotional, a lot more relational with clients. So I ended up assisting for him. I took a big career step back and after being like a senior manager, I went to be his assistant. And that was humbling, but I did it. And then I just took what I had learned from all those years of commercial real estate and just managing people, managing processes, and then have grown since then. So it's been almost 15 years, and my kids were 2 and 1 at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, just put my mind to it.
And what a great position as a mom. I mean, it's a lot of stress, a lot of hard work, a lot of off hours, but because of that, you're able to like, I was able to like go to my children's sporting events and have a flexible schedule, even though it's a stressful type of job. And now your children are, teens.
Yes.
You're able to like move and groove with them because I always say the older they get, the more they need you sometimes.
Yeah, that's very true. And I do work a lot like you. And what I try to do is have my kids listen to some of the conversations because, with AI and all the robots and all these other things, people are going to get numb to that. So I really think that the relation and the human interaction will become even more important. So in the car, if I'm driving around and someone calls me, I'll take a call, and afterward I'll ask the kids, "Oh, what did you learn from that? How do you feel like the client felt at the beginning of the call, at the end of the call?" But they will humble me immediately. They'll say, "I wasn't even listening."
Yeah.
But I feel like they are subconsciously listening.
I have 25 and 23, and a couple of years ago I was on the phone at our house, and they came up to me and they said, like, Mom, I think when you say this and whatever this was, I don't really think it makes you sound that smart. And I was like, thank you. You're probably right on that. It was just something that I got into a shtick of saying, and I didn't listen 100% to it, and my son actually said it to me, and I changed. So sometimes out of the mouth of our youngers, they hear things, and I think that my children and my parents probably could do a mortgage easier than I can do a mortgage sometimes, because they hear it so often.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that's very vulnerable for you to say that, because we think that we're the end all be all, we know how to do it. But I had the same. I hung up with a call. My husband said, it didn't sound like you knew exactly what you were saying there. Maybe use this phrase instead of that phrase. And then oftentimes to sound agreeable, we'll say, yeah. And he says, just listen and don't say anything. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. Good feedback, right? If we're open to the feedback. So
yeah, I think you can always learn. What do you think has changed from the earlier years of Gina to the years now of Gina, as in your trajectory of being a mortgage originator?
Sure. I mean, one thing that's remained consistent going back to my upbringing was I played a ton of sports, played through college, and I love being on a team, and I love being coached. Right. So I've always tried to surround myself with people that are able to help, right? So better together type of situation. And then also I've constantly been in coaching, and I know you have too. And, some sort of like bouncing ideas off of people. There's always ways to tweak things and do better. So I'm always part of coaching, but I would say in the beginning, I probably wasn't terribly confident with everything that I was offering, and now I've really educated myself a lot on the technical side of things too, to learn the products, and there's so many out there, and just not being afraid of something that I haven't done before, and just saying, hey, I'm going to teach myself how to do this, because the client deserves the opportunity to get help where they need it, kind of meeting them where they are. So
absolutely.
Just doing something uncomfortable.
I always say, being uncomfortable is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I do always say you have to do things that are uncomfortable to grow. What do you feel 3 keys to your success have been?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm relentless with winning. That goes back to coaching, trying to always improve things, be more efficient, be better than everyone else. Another concept is where there's a will, there's a way. I will never tell anyone no. There's always a direction of how they can find their path. Maybe it's not right now to home ownership, but educating them on how to get there. So where there's a will, there's a way. And then I listened to, have you ever heard of Earl Nightingale?
Yes. I love Earl Nightingale, yes.
And like his voice and just kind of the era of it all. And he was like sort of the original podcast type of person, but it was on radio. And one of the things that he says is like, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, one of the things that he says is, you will become what you think about, right? And I took that to heart, and I'm constantly thinking of what I want the outcome to be, or what I want my success to look like, or how many people we want to help. And if I put it out there, I just keep believing it will happen, and it will. So I love that. That's been a very big key to my success. That was a podcast I listened to probably 10 years ago and just really stuck with me.
Yeah, I love that. You will become what you think. And with regards to that, while you're thinking about it and you're meditating on it and you're putting it out there, do you write your goals down? Do you put a picture to words?
Oh, like the vision board? Yeah, we've certainly done vision boards. I probably haven't been consistent with that on an annual basis, but I've done that with teams. I've done it with realtor partners. I've done it with my family a little bit when they will appease me. So it's not like anything super consistent. I would say I more think about it more often. And what I found recently is I will say it out loud and I'll tell my spouse, probably more my spouse, because these might be things that are very vulnerable and I know he won't think of me different if I don't achieve it. But last night, literally last night, something's like coming to fruition. He said to me, he goes, there you go again. You said this would happen. You did it. And I was like, oh, I did? Yeah, I did.
That's awesome. That's awesome because you are putting it out there. It's like The Secret. You put it out there and it comes back to you. And I do think that that's why I write my goals down. I say what my goals are. I do my affirmations that it's already happened. And that I feel I've done my entire life. I didn't even know I was doing it until I got older and realized what I was doing.
Wow.
I always felt like if there was a bill that needed to be paid, it would be paid. And, that was just the way I handled my life. And I didn't even realize what I was doing it until I read The Secret in my 30s. And I was like,
yes,
this is what I do. Yeah. And that also is a great book. So we have a great podcast to listen to, a great book to read. And
yeah, it's this big. You can read it in one sitting. Yeah, The Secret to Success by Earl Nightingale.
Yeah. So Relentless with winning. Winning as a team, winning as an individual, winning for your borrowers, just winning in all different ways. Just winning.
Yeah, and if you see me on the sidelines of any of my kids' sports games, I am the lunatic I expect to win every opportunity that there is a competition. My kids will crack up because if we play family pickleball, it's like, my daughter, we were laughing about it the other night because we're just all so competitive. But yeah, winning is the only option. And look, at the end of the day, you're going to win at every event you do. No, but you're going to learn from it and you're going to enjoy the competition and the thrill. And I think I said this to someone the other day. I remember the very first phone call I got for someone who needed my help in a mortgage. And I remember where I was, what I did. I happened to be home. I ran outside. I told my husband who was mowing the lawn, I said, somebody called me. And I remember what they wanted, what it was all about. And there's parts of me that still get that fire when somebody reaches out. Am I running out the front door telling my husband? Probably not. But I feel that, and I feel it's like a part of me that is so exciting to have the opportunity that someone is handing you this baby bird that you want to set flying. So I take that to heart and that opportunity.
It's the passion you have. And I've originated for 30 plus years now. And I remember, and I was just talking about it the other day, the realtor who gave me my first deal. And what real estate company and what her name was. Her name was Sally Ward from Woodland Realty. And I remembered 30 plus years ago exactly who gave me my first shot. As this 20-something who, was not understanding everything, but she was like,
right.
I'm going to give you a shot. And you do remember that. I remember pulling into someone's driveway back in the day when you would go to their houses and getting out of my car and somebody said, are you even old enough to drive, let alone give me money to my house? And I was like, I am. I don't own a house, but I can give you money for it. It's funny, but it's the passion that fuels us. And I just love that you just get that little spark. It's the love of what you do. Mm-hmm. And if you don't love what you do, you can't really be good at it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and that was one of the things I did when I switched careers. I tried to figure out what would be my next career, and I spent a lot of time thinking through that. I had parents. My dad was 40 years of electrician. My mom was a stay-at-home mom and then a secretary. So I didn't necessarily have the entrepreneurial aspect or someone that was go out and control your destiny type of thing. It was you just work hard. And I did that, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I did, kind of speaking of another book, although it's more of a quiz, a personality profiling book called Strength Finder 2.0.
Oh, I never heard of that.
So you buy the book, and then there's a code, and you take the question and answer, and it gives you your top 5 strengths. And then with that, it lends itself to like some careers. And I had no idea. I used to think I might look down on like sales, because I thought, you don't need, like with this role, you don't need to be college educated, let alone master's degree, and I was like, what? I need to be somewhere that requires education. You know what I mean?
Right.
And sales I didn't think required, again, sort of that concept of being like an educated person. And I had achieved all this through these degrees. And now I'm like, wow, that was so close-minded. So the Strength Finder 2.0 book gave me my top 5 strengths, and it really lent itself. So I think it was like positivity, discipline, empathy, futuristic, kind of these things that were, I forget the 5th one, but like just, that lent itself to a sales role in a way. So
well, think of all the ways, as an originator, as a rock star originator, you're really using all of your skills and education, because you're, solving problems, you're being positive, you're looking at the big picture of where they're going with their future, you're giving them equity, or if they need to pay off debt, you're refinancing them. You really have to have your brain working in many different ways, so that you're understanding where you're putting each person. So you're using all of those skills that you've learned in your education all the time, every single day, especially with running a team and coaching that team and all that others, because I don't think people realize how many different functions a person who has a big team, who runs a big mortgage operation, what, like, all the different facets that they see every single day.
Right.
And, we just took somebody from a DSCR loan because the rents didn't come in right into an investment property mortgage, and flipped it. And the realtors are like, are they going to be able to settle in 3 weeks? I was like, they can settle next week. This is what I do. Like, this is why you use me, because we flip things around and we have option A and option B. But that's also the way you do it, because you have to use all of those facets in making sure that you're empathetic and understanding, what each person needs.
Yeah, always thinking 2 steps ahead. It's always nice to have multiple options.
I know, it really is. Do you feel there's one challenge in your career that truly shaped who you are today?
I would say you had mentioned that question to me earlier, and the challenge that comes to mind in an interesting way was when I decided to stop playing softball in college. And my coach said to me, "You're letting your team down. You're not going to have any friends." I was like, what are you talking about? But it was a huge decision, because it was such a big part of my life. But, I think sometimes my point is making a hard decision. It was like my first hard decision, and I felt like I was letting my family down. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, no, I'm still here. Everything's still going. Like, the sun rises and you go on. And then, I ended up getting much better grades. It's when you play 80 games a year, it's really hard to do really well in school. And I made other friends. I enjoyed my college career. And I think it just opened my mind up to the fact that you can make a hard decision even if everyone else thinks it's not the right one for you, and be confident in it. So sometimes we move in the world in a way that we think other people want us to be or to act, and it's not always right for us. So whatever decision, like when I got into mortgage, so many people told me, don't do that. Don't work with your friend. Mortgage is not great. You're not going to be successful. Don't do it. And I said, okay, well, watch me, but it was hard because there was that fear and people were laying onto it. But it was something that I thought about and believed. And so just kind of those were big moments in my life, was deciding to not play softball, which I don't want to say quitting because I don't know that I quit, but I decided no longer to play. And that was a big decision. And then switching from, commercial real estate, I had my master's degree. I had all these things leading up to kind of continuing on this path, but I just knew it wasn't right. And so making that big decision to I literally made 50% of what I made previously.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, I'm going to try to do this. And they said, we'll guarantee you X. And it was half of what I was already salaried. So I believed in myself and said, okay, well, watch me. So when anybody, tells me no, it just gives me a little chip on my shoulder.
It's so funny. I also feel the same way. I have felt the same. I also was told to not get into mortgage. I wouldn't be able to succeed. And I think that just puts a little fire underneath your feet to really prove something. And I don't think that that's unusual for women to feel that way. I think that that's something that, unfortunately, a usual thing, and we don't talk about it enough. We should talk about it more.
That's so true.
Yeah, because we should empower each other.
I know.
How do you feel like networking has impacted how you do business, where you do business? Do you feel it's relationship driven, networking driven? How does that work for you?
Yeah, I think through your career, it ebbs and flows of like what activities you're doing. In the beginning, I would meet with anyone with a pulse, and I don't, after a while, I was like, is this a good use of my time? I would say a few years ago, probably 6-7 years ago, I decided at that moment, it was actually when rates started going up, and I was like, we're all kind of spiraling. It's like how to get higher conversion, because I had a realtor say to me, oh, you're just a partner, you're a vendor.
Yeah,
and I was like, whoa, wow, that's not how I view our relationship. I view it as like mutually beneficial. So I support you, we support each other, and we do anything for each other after hours, like to help with your clients. So that was a big eye-opening experience. So what I decided was I went through my list, and I decided that I would only work with people that I like, trust, and respected, and who like, trust, and respected me. And I just made a concerted effort at that time to do that. And of course, that lent itself to lovely relationships. I mean, I have fabulous friendships, and I mean, it's easy. It's easy to spend time with these people. So when I talk about going to lunch or coffee or hanging out with them at various activities, I don't really view that as working. I view it as like, ooh, what a nice little treat to get away from my computer and hang out with like someone that I like, trust, and respect. So
I also felt that way, and I don't do business with anyone who, when I see their name on my phone, I don't want to answer.
Nope. No thanks.
It's just not fun, and I like to have some fun. So
totally agree.
What do you think is going on in the industry right now that people should be paying attention to?
I mean, two things. I think a lot of people are relying too much on AI to some degree, or letting the automated emails go out and not staying in contact with their clients. So I do feel like the more that we can lean into in-person phone calls, Zooms, more human-to-human interaction, I think we'll be wildly more successful. And I wish the younger people got that. They don't, think about it. We get food delivery. The person doesn't even hand it to you. It's like, leave it on the step. It's wild.
I think that people are yearning for interaction.
I really do think they are yearning for interaction. So just really leaning more into that in whatever way is comfortable for you. And then you just mentioned like DSCRs and different loan products, being very open-minded to learning about those opportunities. I think we are shifting to a fair amount more, if you want to call it non-QM or portfolio, but like it's more back to that, where there's a will, there's a way. And there are loan products that now aren't like, remember back in the day, you did some, it was before I had gotten into the business, but like, weren't there loans called like quick and easy, where you didn't have to document income or assets, right?
Yeah.
Fast and easy. But like, it's not that, like, that's not what we're doing. We're actually taking someone that is like very, very likely going to make their mortgage payment because of all these other compensating factors and things, and helping them with a mortgage where they would otherwise be denied, So I think there's a lot of portfolio loans coming down the pike that will be very exciting for people that don't fit the mold. And I think we're going to see more of people not fitting the mold. Just think about all the people now that it's so expensive to live in this world today that you need multiple jobs, you need multiple side hustles. And oftentimes, remember, we couldn't use those in the past. And now it's like, okay, well, yeah, we can use that if X, Y, Z. So I think that's great. And I think that's where the market is going.
Yeah, well, I'm so honored that you were on Grab Your Keys and that I got to meet you. And I can't wait to continue a relationship with you as a peer. And you are just an amazing, empowering woman that I think is fantastic. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to put all your information below so people can check you out. If you're looking for a loan in Virginia or any place that you're licensed, check you out because you are definitely one that will really care and has a lot of empathy to make sure people are in the right program at the right time.
Thank you, Sue. You're so amazing. I appreciate the opportunity to be on the podcast, and I'm impressed that you're bringing information and sharing it with your listeners. And then when you're in town, we should get together for dinner, since I know you went to George Mason, which is down the street. So give me a call.
So, everyone, remember to like, share, and comment, and we will see you next time on Grab Your Keys.
Thank you.